Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Housewife Historian, and we are here to talk the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm going to be talking a little bit in code today because if you watch my channel and you watch my live, yes.
Is the plane going down? Are we gonna die? Why are you saying I'm salty?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are here talking Real Housewives, and today we're going to kind of have a popcorn style, but I want to start with the Real Housewives of New Jersey. If you follow my channel and you previously watched a video I did on a $30,000, well, like $33,000 lawsuit that was recently filed in November against Joe Gorga's company, allegedly. And so I did a video on that, and people were accusing me of digging up stuff from the past, or they just were confused and thought that the information that I was giving them was like from an old lawsuit, but it wasn't. So I want to clear some of that up and go over some tea that I had a couple of comments of people that wanted me to do, dives into the Gorgas. And I do have a lot of videos from last year where I do a lot of deep dives on the Mandos and on the Gorgas. And so I'm going to just try to clean those up a little bit and update them and repost the information eventually. But until then, I'm going to get you guys some tea and some information, of course, like I always do, with a little bit of nuggets from the past included. So we're going to talk about the Gorgas. We're going to talk about their new house. We're going to talk about the alleged $33,000 lawsuit. We're going to talk about it today. We got to get it out of the way because you know what? It's making headlines. And then another thing I would like to touch base on, I may do it on a whole another separate video, but it is the Balenciaga saga, and the Real Housewives that we're seeing still supporting Balenciaga and the ones that are not. And then we also have, to talk about Diana Jenkins and this $100,000 allegedly donated, then allegedly not donated to the Lion Air victims. So forgive me, guys. I have a 2-year-old. I have to drink coffee all day. Anyways, guys, please go ahead and hit this like video. It definitely helps my video get out into the algorithm, because I am trying to grow. Check out my live yesterday with Jenny from Bravo and Blaze. We talked, housewives. She told us about her BravoCon experience. She is an advocate for mothers and entrepreneurs. And so if you are interested in content creating, that would be a great video for you to listen to. And that's from Jenny from Bravo and Blaze. But let's go ahead and get started, okay? Because here's the thing. As it pertains to Joe and Melissa Gorga, of course, everything that we're going to talk about is alleged. However, documents were posted on Instagram by LoveLoveGabriela, showing the lawsuit, the actual lawsuit. So it is up to date, and it's from November. It's from November 15th or 16th, I think they were served. And they're moving into their new house. And we're seeing Melissa posting a lot of photos of the house and the chandeliers, and she's giving a lot of publicity to like the movers. She did a lot of posts tagging the movers, and we all know, guys, that when that happens, it typically means that that they didn't have to pay for the services, like that the services were discounted greatly for the advertisement. That's basically what we get from those sorts of things. I'm trying to find the actual documents because I have them on my phone, and so I'm recording from my phone because of course it makes the best videos. Other bloggers agree with me. It's like the iPhone takes the best video, but it's hard to edit always from your iPhone, and sometimes it's, if you have information, it's hard to get it from that phone. Then you got to either email to your laptop. Anyways, you guys aren't interested in any of that. Regardless, they were posted, and it's from a concrete company. Now, I went all over this in my previous video, so I don't know if you guys really need me to go over the actual formal legal documents again. but I can just to give you guys a rundown. Because again, anytime that Joe Gorga is sued, he goes by his like birth name, which is his like Italian Giuseppe name. So people don't always affiliate that as Joe Gorga. And so I think that sometimes he's been able to get away with things because his government name is different from what we all know him as, right? So again, alleged, everything in my video is alleged. But the lawsuit, according to the new lawsuit, they couldn't afford to pay the contractors. So this lawsuit hit October 17th of 2022. The affidavit shows a sheriff officer served the legal complaint on November 14th of 2022. Just like I told you guys, in the middle of November, at the new home of Melissa and Gorga, their home address has been redacted for privacy reasons. But the documents are posted online. If you would like to go read them yourselves, they are on allaboutthetea.com. And these are the official court docs that were circulating online. And again, the article is talking about Melissa, talking about new beginnings. She's moving into her house and it's gorgeous. Look at our chandeliers. Look at our staircase. Blase, blase. The court documents claim that there was a breach of contract, and that between damages and every attorney fees, interest, a reasonable cost of the suit, the damages will far exceed $30,264.06. So that's the original amount that this company is saying Joe Gorga owes them is like $30,200. But I told you guys this 1,000 times. It's expensive to go to court. You have to retain an attorney. You have to pay that attorney anytime they file paperwork on your behalf, anytime they go to court on your behalf, anything like that. That attorney is getting paid. So it costs money to sue people. If somebody is found to be in the wrong, then they can be responsible for paying the other party's legal fees, right? Because why should you be out money when you're trying to get the money that's yours anyways? So that's why they're saying it's likely that it could far exceed the $30,000 because Joe would, one, have to pay for his own representation in court and his own attorney. And then he would be responsible for their attorney and their attorney's fees and retainers and everything that went along with the case. So I don't know. It's hard to say, guys. Like I said, there is a lot that is in court filings and civil suits, but it's by his formal name. We can even go back to 2018 Starlight Window. We've heard this one before. Sued Joe Gorga for failing to pay $17,000 owed to the company. The lawsuit was filed in April of 2018. Melissa Gorga was served with the papers on May 8th, and we still don't know the outcome of that case yet. I want to find that out, if he ended up, taking care of it, or if he's still in court. Now, so to confirm, again, to make sure that we are very clear about this, the lawsuit against the Gorgas from the concrete company for supplies is for $30,000, and that is current from November of 2022. Now, with that comes a lot of rumors that we've heard and I've talked about in the past, and we can kind of briefly go over some of those. I've talked about them before. I'm going to try to go back through my receipts and see what I posted and what I kept. But my sources out of Jersey were saying that Joe couldn't go buy lumber anymore because after COVID, lumber went sky high. And I don't know if they use like a account kind of deal. I don't know how that payment works, but somehow Joe Gorga was allegedly able to accumulate a rather large lumber bill, and he either didn't pay it, gave them such a hard time about paying it that they were like, we're not dealing with you anymore. Okay. So for whatever reason, people, if you guys know, comment, because I did have, the last time I talked about this, I had different people or gentlemen and ladies, let me know a little bit about like the lumber business, the lumber yard and such. But that was the allegations, and that's where Frank Catania allegedly comes in, that Joe would have to send him or other people to get the lumber for him and his projects because they wouldn't mess with Joe Gorga anymore. I didn't hear I always had heard the Home Depot rumors as well, that he had been caught shoplifting there and that they didn't want him in the Home Depot there anymore. The only thing I can like really compare it to is, back in the day, I feel like when things weren't as like high tech. Do you guys remember when people would like get caught leaving Walmart? They would be like pushing a cart with like 3 flat screen TVs, and they would just push it through the door and nobody would stop them, and it wasn't like, a big, it was a big deal because they stole 3 flat screen TVs, but it was a common thing for people to walk in and out of busy places and try to steal things at big places like that, because those are high end items that you can resell for a lot of money. But for Joe's case, anything that he can take from Home Depot for free is going to be money that's going to save him on the cost of his work materials. Okay, so was Joe Gorga, maybe loading up his cart and walking out the door and then pretending like he paid it, and they caught it on the camera later and then posted a picture in the office? I'm just saying, this is a plausible thing that could happen. He could leave with all of the merchandise and nobody notices at the time until later. They go back, there's the inventory's wrong, something. They see him on camera leave with all of these items. They screenshot a picture and they hang that in the office, and they say, don't let this man back in here. And if he does come back in here, they immediately usually will call the police because they assume that you're shoplifting anyways. And so that's how that goes. Now, yes, there were rumors about that as well, and we don't know how old that rumor is. The rumor about the lumber was after COVID, like probably right when things started to open back up after COVID, which I do think that Joe and Melissa had to have been struggling like any other small business. They probably got PPE loans. I just thought of something. Hold on. I have to write it down before it leaves my head. I'm going to look that up. I don't even want to say it yet because... Okay, that's for another video, sorry. Anyways, so that was after COVID. They probably were struggling. We had Kim DeYoung going behind the velvet rope. She was stating that people in these apartment buildings that Joe Gorga owned were like, not being taken care of, not being maintenance properly. Then whenever the guy that wasn't allegedly paying his rent to Joe Gorga, and Joe Gorga flips out, if you guys remember, the video was on TMZ. It was all over the place. If you remember, that guy, the tenant who allegedly didn't pay, but had known that Joe had gotten PPE money for the people living there. So there was a certain amount of time where the guy didn't have to pay any rent. So he was technically behind on like a month and a half's rent from when he had to start paying from when, the COVID thing dissolved. Anyways, he said when him and Joe were yelling, going back and forth, he told Joe, like, and you told your maintenance people never to come into my building and don't fix anything, unless I A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever the case may be, like until I pay my rent or whatever. So it's like, you should absolutely be paying your rent, but is it fair for the building, the entire maintenance of the entire building to suffer because there's one tenant in there that's not paying their rent on time? That's a little unconventional. And I think that's kind of what Joe Gorga is, guys, in my opinion. Joe Gorga is very unconventional. He isn't by the books. He's like old school Italian, it fell off the truck type stuff. The cheaper the better. But I think that he has just learned the ins and outs of businesses. I've spoke about this before as well. A lot of times the company will anyone can open up an LLC. So they'll open up an LLC. Maybe it's Joe Gorga's Concrete and roof services. Okay. So then they have an LLC, they have a tax ID, they do business under this name for a year, and they get sued. or they have a bunch of debt that they can't pay, right? So what do? They close out that LLC and they open up a new one. And they call this one Joe Gorga Concrete Doors, Roofs, and Windows. So it's very close to the old one, but not the same, but under a new tax ID number and a new business account. That helps these people sometimes do fraudulent things because they can close and open up different accounts. It just happens a lot. And so is this something that he could be potentially doing? I don't know. It's very possible. We have the $17,000 from Reality Tea. I do think too, guys, like a lot of times when you own a business, and other people have said this before too, that like when you own a business, you are more likely to get sued. Like it definitely can happen. This isn't the first time. When you own a business, a lot of times you can definitely be sued. Now, here's an old lawsuit that you guys don't, this is tea, guys. I forgot I had this. Told you I was going through some of my receipts. Oh gosh, this is going to be a whole video on its own. I got a whole nother video on its own. I'm going to do a part 2. I'm sorry, guys, because I'm 15 minutes in talking about the Gorgas. But this one's good. This one goes way back to Johnny and the Greek. Jacqueline hitting him with her heel, her husband, the whole fight. We have to talk about it because I just found that lawsuit from that. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then you definitely got to go back and hit up some of the best episodes out of those first couple of seasons. I'm telling you guys, it's so worth it, okay? But hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on, and go to part 2 for all the tea on the Kim D, Johnny the Greek, stripper gate fight that led to a lawsuit with naming a lot of the cast of the Real Housewives of New Jersey.